just further informs not only my decision to do these shows and to be an educator, but it also it requires me to tell people, anyone who will listen, to do what you can right now to reduce your dependency on the public. That includes food. That includes clothes. Start making your own clothes, man. Grab a sewing machine and some thread and start making your own fashions. You ain't gotta wear all your own fashions. Grow your own food, though. I mean, just some herbs, man. Grow some basil. You eat basil? Grow some. You eat peppers? Grow some peppers. You can put it in a pot, put it in your house. Grow some peppers. Water it every day. Be nice to it. Talk to it. Breathe on it. Just anything that you can do to reduce, if it's just $5, if you spend $5 less a month because you have a pepper plant in your house, that is what I'm talking about. And that's one way to start. And you can just add on to that and reduce your dependency of income on the public. Not completely throw it away. Just, I don't get no input. Okay, that's not really realistic. But what I mean is, if you have a job and that's the way it is, cool. There's nothing wrong with having a job. What I think there's something wrong with is having a job and not having a side hustle or a side job or a side business. Even if you do like 10 hours a weekend on your side business. I mean, that could be an extra $100, $150 that you're not dependent on from that job. And if you keep adding, eventually you'll be like, man, eventually you'll be sitting down, right? Probably this is how it happened. This is how it happened to me. You'll be waking up, you'll be getting up, and you'll be going to work. And you'll be trying to think of reasons why you finna go to work. And you're gonna run out of reasons why, because your brain, that voice in your mind is gonna tell you, but we make this much money off the side hustle. So if we just do a little bit more, which we could do if we didn't work this job, we can make more money off the side hustle and not need the job. That's how it usually happens. And that happens by starting something and just building. Start with a side hustle, just one thing, 10 hours a week, 5 hours a week or whatever, and build from there. Start with a basil plant or a pepper plant and build from there. Just begin to reduce get one solar panel. Get one solar panel. Put it in the window. It charges slow. So what? All that charge was free. It's the little things. Little things add up. When you do one is not that many, but you do one 100 times, that's 100. All that stuff adds up. You understand what I'm trying to say? I hope y'all understand what I'm trying to say. Just, let's just work on reducing our dependence. I don't know. But let's jump into the show. So what we got? We got private trust versus public trust. This is where we at. This is what we doing. And this is where I'm gonna, because I'm gonna just be honest. I was talking to someone, privately, who was having a discussion with an accountant, and this accountant we're just saying just saying things, and I get it. So this is how I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna start like this: private trust versus public trust. It don't matter. Public trust versus private trust. It don't matter. I'm gonna start off like this. There are over 80 different types of trust. You can go get an American jurisprudence on trust, which is a legal encyclopedia. Just think of encyclopedias. Remember encyclopedias in school? Some of the young cats, maybe they didn't have they told you to get on a computer or something, but they had encyclopedias. And these encyclopedias, it was volumes. It was like 24, 40 books. It was a whole bunch of books. And they went by letter and went alphabetically. And in each one, it would, it had different stuff. So, when we were doing book reports and all this other stuff in school, we had to go to the media center or the library or whatever. It was a library, and then they called it the media center because they started adding other types of media. But whatever, go to go to the library in school and look at the encyclopedias. It was like they had like Encyclopedia Britannica. That was a big one. Encyclopedia Britannica, and that was a big thing. And it had just information on all types of stuff, from birds to bats to railroads to dirt to old prehistoric animals. I mean, it just had all. And the same thing with legal encyclopedias. You know, it's a volume of legal encyclopedias that have information on every legal subject that has been in the Supreme Court. All right, and how they write these encyclopedias. Every line is a line that's taken from a Supreme Court case. It's very dope, and it's a great way to learn. So what I'm saying, you look in there and they'll show you that not all, but a bunch of different types of trust. But I can tell you there's over 80. You know, I don't know exactly how many there are. There's over 80. All right. So when it comes to trust, here's the first thing that we must logically think in our minds, right? If let's say you're in private trustee training here in the foundation, and you're looking to go walk into this bank and open a bank account for your trust bank account, right? Here's what we need to understand before we even get into the car or on the bus or into the Uber or the Lyft or the taxi or whatever. You got a drone that's flying you around, whatever. Before you even move on your journey to enter the bank, we must understand all of these people in the public were educated in the public. You went to a preschool. Most people go to preschool or Head Start, and they go to kindergarten, and they go to K through 12. It's usually kindergarten to sixth grade, and then middle school is 7th and 8th, or junior high, and then high school is 9th through 12th. It's different. Sometimes middle school is 7th, 8th, and 9th, and then high school is 10th through. It's different. It's different everywhere, but mostly that's the way it is. And then you go, if you choose, you go on to a college, right? And you can go to that college and you can learn how to be a certified public accountant, right? You can learn how to be an attorney. You can learn how to be a tax attorney. You can. Absolutely. And this is what you must know. What you also must know is there are state statutes with regards to public schools. And there are state mandates with regards to the curriculum that are being taught in public schools. From pre-K all the way up to your master's. You are in a school that is in a state, and that state has specific statutes and mandates with regards to the curriculum that is being taught. And there's a big difference between someone who is educated solely by state schools, law schools included, and someone who is educated by state schools and educated privately. So now you're going to a state college, and I'm sure there's state imposed curriculum at that state college. Then at that college, you may have deanships, professorships, and chairs. And those positions, as well as certain curriculums, are in these colleges and universities due to private endowments. The school isn't paying for these deanships, professorships, and chairs, and certain curriculums, African American studies. These different types of curriculums are there due to endowments by private families. Public education is controlled. It's what people in my field call controlled knowledge. I don't care how many letters you have behind your name. That's controlled knowledge. That's what they want you to know. So when you walk into a bank, when you're going to talk to an attorney, you must understand they were educated in their field by the state curriculum. And because the state schools, most all state schools, accept federal funding as well, there is typically dual mandates that these schools have to deal with regards to what they teach and what they don't teach. So there's further restrictions placed on state universities, colleges, high schools, junior highs, elementaries, whatever. Not only by the state, but as well by the federal government, due to these schools accepting state funds as well as accepting federal funds. Why am I saying this? Because you need to know what you're dealing with. Now, I want to let you know, when it comes to private trust and what we, learn here at the foundation with regards to trustee training, this is a system that is not taught in the public. You're not going to go to a school and have someone teach you private trust administration or what a private trust is. Most people in the public don't know what it is. You say trust, they assume that you're talking about a statutory trust or some sort of grantor trust. And I'm going to get into grantor trust and their different designations in a second. You know what I'm saying? But they're assuming that it's a trust that they understand. And an attorney is assuming that it's a trust because they've only been taught that certain trusts that are crafted according to how they were taught and how the state statutes designates trust to be crafted are the only laws. They haven't been taught. No one has taught them anything otherwise. And 9 times out of 10, you walk in to an attorney's office, you walk into a CPA, and you start talking about contract trust, you're talking crazy. You're talking something they've never heard before. And you're not a professional, you're not an attorney, you're not a CPA, so they're going to be very, very dismissive. Off top. So public trust. A public trust is a trust that owes its existence to legislation, public legislation. These are the type of trust that you're going to get when you have an attorney draw up your trust. An attorney has a bar card. An attorney has a duty. His first duty is to the public or to the state. Its second duty is to their client. But his first duty is to the state. So you got to understand that most of these state attorneys, these state CPAs, they've never even heard about this private stuff. And if they have, it's been from some crazy Yahoo talking craziness, mixing different law and just really tripping. And they call them sovereign citizens or scammers. That's what they're, thinking about. But a private trust is just that. It's private. It's a trust that does not owe its existence to legislation. You're not going to really find too many people that are familiar with this. And you got to understand the different jurisdictions of the law, right? So you have legislative branch of government, you have the executive branch of government, and you have the judicial branch of government. We all should understand that the legislative branch of government is the branch of government designated by the Constitution to regulate commerce. So anything passed by the legislature would be commercial in nature, would it not? State legislatures included, statutes. That's legislation. So the trust that the state is going to grant or, bless is going to be some type of trust that is more beneficial to the state than it is to the individual. Why not? That's just the way it is. I was going to say you can't get mad about it, but I guess you can. But it is the way it is. So what is converse? What's the converse? Conversely, a private trust is a trust that does not owe its existence to state legislation. and is outside of state state legislative jurisdiction. So you go to an attorney, a state educated attorney. You go to a state educated certified public accountant, and they'll tell you ain't no such thing as that. That don't exist. They don't know what they don't know. You got to understand. And if you got people and professors and these people teaching you stuff that people in your family didn't teach you, these are the authorities, right? You have a certain conception about who the authorities are on these types of subjects. You got to understand the true authorities, in my opinion, is the Supreme Court. Supreme being the operative word. Supreme. Higher than anything else. And we go off the Supreme Court. That's why the appeals process is there to find any defect or correct any defect in the lower court process. Right? What is the lower court? The state court. The state that taught the state attorneys in the state schools, right? So private trust, also known as contract trust, also known as peer trusts, is a lawful, irrevocable, separate legal entity. According to the Supreme Court in Baker versus Stern, the court said it is established by legal precedent that peer trusts are lawful, valid business organizations. This is the court that you appeal to. You lose your case, you appeal, and you state a claim for which relief can be granted. And this is what they say. In Edwards versus the Commissioner, the court said dignity of a contract cannot be set aside because a tax benefit results either by design or accident. A tax benefit results by design or accident. In Weeks versus Sibley, which is a Supreme Court case, the court said a peer trust is not illegal if formed for the express purpose of avoiding taxation. It's not illegal. You may have certain people, certain individuals in certain capacities that allege the illegality, that allege the invalidity of your trust, of your private contractual trust. Does that mean that is true, what they are saying? Oh, because they have a bar card, because they're a lawyer, because they have a title, because they have a public title, they're going to tell you about your private estate? I think it's absolutely preposterous. And yet, we have to relearn what we need to relearn. And I can sit here and pontificate all night and be like, oh, they're lying and they don't know and they're just trying to. No. What does the Supreme Court say? Player? In Silverthorne Lumber Company versus the U.S., the court said the trustees of a trust have all the power necessary to carry out their obligations, which they assume, and their books and records are not subject to review or subpoena. It was also held in Boyd versus the U.S., Silverthorne Lumber Company versus the U.S., Boyd versus the U.S. In Crocker versus McCloy, the court said a trust organization consisting of a U.S. constitutional right of contract cannot be abridged. The agreement, when executed, becomes a constitutionally protected organization and not under the laws passed by any of the several legislatures, legislative, executive, judicial. Constitutionally protected organization and is not under the laws passed by any of the several legislatures. You can let these people in the public tell you whatever they want to tell you. Oh, ain't no such thing as that. You can't do that. That don't exist. They don't know what they don't know. And there's attorneys, you can throw Supreme Court casework at them after they tell you that don't exist, and you can give them these citations, and you know what they're going to do? They're going to get mad at you. That's what they're going to do. They're going to get mad at you. They're going to give you an attitude, or they're going to stop talking to you. Plain and simple. And be like, oh, according to Silverthorne Lumber Company. No. I have gone many times to the law library. They got LexisNexis. They got Westlaw. Two different law publishers. They both publish law cases. They both have online repositories of a plethora of law cases. You can download them in PDF format. And you can pull the actual case. I went to there many times with my own flash drive and downloaded hundreds of PDFs. Over 100. Let me just be honest. Over 100 PDFs. And I read the cases. It's not just me, oh yeah, I found this thing on the internet and it says this. No, I went down to the courthouse. I walked in, went through the security, the sheriff everywhere, and then there's security in there. And, I got to put the things in the thing. And I went all the way up to the top floor, and I walked in, and I pulled the case. In Elliott versus Freeman, the court said a pure trust is not subject to legislative control, and holds that the trust relationship comes under the realm of equity based upon the common law and is not subject to legislative restrictions, as are corporations and other organizations. By legislative authority. Nah, you can't. The trust can't pay for those. Those are personal expenses, and you can't. The trust can't. Nah. What? Yeah, because you can't pay personal expenses because you got to claim those on your individual taxes. The trust can't pay for that for you. In Edwards versus the commissioner, the court said that the dignity of the contract cannot be set aside. I can't what? Where are you reading that? You reading that in some sort of state statute? Is that where you're saying I can't do that? This is not a statutory trust, sir. Now, remember when I said grantor trust and I was like, I'll get back to designations of trust? The Internal Revenue Service recognizes 3 different types of trust. I'm going to pull it up. Let me pull it up here. Because I'm going to go to their website. I'm going to go to the IRS website, and I'm going to read what they say. A guide to different types of trust. Nope, that's not IRS. Definition of a trust. Okay, maybe I can find it. So while I'm looking for this, those different types are simple, grantor, and complex. You can find this. The IRS, they got a trust primer, man. The IRS has a trust primer. It says 2001, so whatever. But I didn't see this. I did the trust primer. And then the IRS, I found out they had one. I was like, wow, that's not a bad idea. That's why I did it. Where we had purpose of the trust. Simple trust. Here we go. Tax law concepts. This is in section 3. Tax law concepts. A, simple trust. A simple trust must distribute all its income currently. Generally, it cannot accumulate income. It cannot distribute out of its corpus. It cannot pay money for charitable purposes. If a trust distributes corpus during a year, as in the year it terminates, the trust becomes a complex trust for that year. because a simple trust cannot distribute its corpus. So on the term during the year of a termination of a trust, then it's a complex trust because the corpus is distributed. I'm just telling y'all that. I'm gonna continue reading. Whether a trust is simple or complex, it determines the amount of the personal exemption that applies in calculating the tax owed. We got complex trust. Now, let me read grantor, because complex, they funny with that. Grantor trust. A grantor trust is a trust over which the grantor has retained certain interest or control. This would also be known as a revocable trust, or what is known as a living trust. The grantor trust rules in Internal Revenue Code 671 through 678 are anti-abuse rules. They prevent the grantor from taking tax advantages from assets that have not left his or her control. Okay, now, complex trust. A complex trust is any trust that does not meet the requirements for a simple trust. What? Complex trusts may accumulate income, distribute amounts other than current income, and make deductible payments for charitable purposes under Section 642C of the Code. So, grantor trust, simple trust versus complex trust. So, and this is just what I know. And people are going to be like, blah, blah. But a lot of people don't know this stuff. A lot of people won't tell you this stuff because they don't know it to tell you. You got to have it in your hands before you throw it in the air. So when you're dealing with a private trust, if you're dealing with someone who knows what they're doing, it's complex, hands down. It's a complex trust. That's it. If you look at a 1041 form, like one of the first things they ask, it says check all that apply. And it says simple, grantor, complex, remainder, I don't know, all the other options on there. But it's a bunch of boxes. And it's asking you what type of trust it is. And I told you there's over 80 different types of trust, spendthrift trust, generation skipping trust. There is. The IRS only recognizes 3 different types of trust. And that's the distinction. So when you're dealing with a trust that doesn't come under the laws of the states, well then, the only thing you really have to do and worry about is, the federal reporting of the notes used. Because I think the use of Federal Reserve notes, it requires the filing of a return. It doesn't require paying taxes necessarily, but it requires the filing of a return. So, what is a private trust? Well, what does the Supreme Court say? A trust organization consisting of a U.S. constitutional right of contract. That's in Crocker versus McCloy. It's their words. This is the Supreme Court's words, not mine. What is a private trust? Trust organization consisting of a U.S. constitutional right to contract. What is a public trust? A trust organization consisting the legislative permission and authority That's the difference. What's the difference between public and private? Is it governed by a state legislature, or is it governed by the United States constitutional right of contract? You have the right to contract unlimited. People say, oh, they tricked us. Nah, man, you contracted. Oh, no, I didn't sign nothing. There's a such thing as a constructive contract. Look it up in a law dictionary. Look it up in a legal encyclopedia. There's a such thing as a constructive trust. What is that? Oh, it's a trust or a contract that exists based off of how you behave. Your behavior. You behaved like you agreed and you contracted, so you did. I didn't know. You didn't go to the law library. You didn't study. You got out of school and just went and kicked it. You wasn't like, oh, I'm out of school now. Now, after I've learned everything they want me to learn, now I'm going to go learn everything that I want to learn. You went and kicked it. You went and got a 40. And that's the thing with these, certain groups of people, in this community. You know what I'm saying? Such as those sovereign citizen groups. The de facto government. You're tripping. You don't understand law. You don't understand jurisdiction. You don't understand trust. You don't understand. Man, you don't understand. You're ignorant. It is what it is. What's the difference between a private trust and a public trust? The public trust owes its existence to legislation and is governed by state legislation because it owes its existence to state legislation. Why? Because you paid a state attorney to draw that joker up. And the state schools taught that state attorney to create trusts in the state way. That's why. And you go, you can't do that. You got to do this, and you got to do this, and that's what they'll tell you. Why? Because that's what they know. You want to get mad? Oh man, you trying to play me, attorney? You trying to play me, lawyer? How dare thee play me, attorney? You don't know what you're talking about. You were slaves in the beast, and and I'm woken, man. Look, that's all they know. Why you mad at them? Tell them what you know and watch their face. Just say, hey, start asking, hey, did you know about this? Did you know about this? Hey, you ever read this Supreme Court case? Huh? You ever do this? Why they mad at you? Because you didn't teach them softly. That's why they mad at you. You want to develop a good relationship with someone in the public? Like you want to try to contract with a tax attorney on behalf of your private estate? You're trying to contract with a CPA on behalf of your private trust and have them work with you? You're going to have to nicely teach them. Not stun on them. Nigga, you don't know what you're doing. Fool, you was raised by the public. You ignorant fool. I'm out here. No, it ain't going to work. It's not going to work. You got to ask them questions. Hey, you ever read this? And then send it to them. Send them a Supreme Court case. Like the full joint. Just send it to them. Hey, you ever read this? Because in page 3, in the second paragraph, what do you think about that? Send them the Hague Convention. You ever read the Hague Convention on trusts? Isn't the United States parties to the Hague Convention on trusts? I'm pretty sure. And it's insular possessions. I looked up the definition of insular possession yesterday. They'll be like, what's up with this guy? But don't be mean about it. Don't be weird. Don't be egotistical. Don't be beating your chest and trying to stunt on these fools. Yeah, you got student loans up the wazoo, fool. And I just studied for 2 years. For the free. They let you in the law library for free, not for the fee. And you over here with how much student loans you got? You ain't going to make friends doing that. You're not. And if you teach these people, 9 times out of 10, you're going to create an ally in the public. Because I don't know what you're doing. You can go private all day, but I don't know too many people who are private who do not accept Federal Reserve notes for business. In some sort of entity, whether it's an LLC or some sort of trust or something like that. And the funniest thing is, and these are the people they knew. They don't know, man. They knew the information, and they'd be like, "Oh, if you private, why do you accept Federal Reserve notes? Huh? Why do you want FRNs if you private? Because I can give them to other people, and they will give me things." Oh, well, will you accept this instrument? How about I give you a bond? That's the funniest part. Like, a lot of times I don't even respond to them cats. Because you don't know. You're going to have to study some more, man. And then when you study some more, you understand why I didn't respond to you, man. Because them bonds go to companies, man. Companies. We got to, privately agree for me to accept them bonds or something. Then what's the value back in these bonds? Oh yeah. And if you start talking about the birth certificate, we're done, because that's not private, baby. It's not. Well, yeah, I got this bond, and it's a 3-party, instrument. The Rule 220 on it, man. I put the Rule 220 on it, so right, and I signed it sideways. What I'm gonna do with it? You private. You private. You say you private. People say, "Oh, why don't you accept bonds?" And there's a couple of people that I asked. This was early on when I first started doing shows, man. I'm just gonna, I was young. Behind the ears, green or wet or whatever you call them, behind your ears. Is it wet behind the ears? And then you green, which means you knew, and then you wet behind it. Okay, yeah. But I got into the conversation. Okay, you want to give me a bond? What am I gonna do with this bond? Well, I'm gonna give you a bond. Okay, so where does it draw its value from? Oh yeah, it draws its value from my labor. Oh, okay, so it draws its value from your labor. Okay, so where are you drawing the funds off for this bond? Oh yeah, from my birth certificate. So you telling me you private, so why don't you accept bonds? I start asking about the bonds. You trying to give me a bond that's drawn off of your public birth certificate? Then they get mad at me. Oh, you trying to flip it on me? You trying to make me feel dumb or something? It's like, look, I can't do nothing. I don't make you do anything. I don't make you do anything. If I can make anybody do anything, it would be sell all your stuff. Sell everything you can and get in private trustee training as fast as you can. Everything that you don't need, everything that you don't use at least once a day, get rid of it. Sell it to anyone who will buy it as fast as you can. Get into trustee training, get you some gold and silver, get you some life insurance, start doing the private family banking, and holler at me in 3 years after you see what's up. If I can make anybody do, that's what I would make you do. I make you do that. I'm like, man, okay, here's what you want to do. I mean, you want to start an LLC too, and you want to structure it right. But I know I can't make anyone to do anything. What I can do is, continue to educate. And that's why, I did this show. It was for educational and informational purposes, private trust versus public trust. The main difference between a private trust and a public trust, a private trust exists and is executed on the U.S. constitutional right of contract. And a public trust owes its existence and is executed according to state law, state statute. That's the difference. And I can say it like that. Oh, it's very simple. Conceptually, maybe it may take some time to grasp the entire, the full scope of the concept, public and private. What's an example? A lease. Like if you're a renter and you sign a lease with a landlord, that's private contract. Now, because the property is titled in the state or city municipality, minimum contact, because you are a resident of the state, minimum contact, that private contract can be brought into the public and adjudicated according to the contract and according to state law, because the property is located and registered with the county in that state, and because the resident of the state is a renter and is party to the contract. But the contract itself, you sign a lease for your apartment, that's private. It's a private contract. And no state can impair it. Now it may come under state law, but the state can't come in and say, check this out. Yeah, you have to move out before your lease is up. State can't do that. And I know it's like, okay, you got a private contract, but there's all these minimum public contacts, and that's true. And one of the things you want to do is get used to being able to see when a situation is public or when it's private, and the different minimum contacts, the different connections it has. Because, perfect example, you could be a plumber. You could have a plumber's license, minimum contact. Oh, I'm doing it through the trust. Well, if you have a plumber's license, that typically is through the state. So now the state is party to the activity that generates income. Minimum contact. I need license, any type of public title. Plumber, that's a commercial term. That's a public title. It's a commercial title. Plumber. What's another one? Banker, realtor. A lot of ERS. These are public titles. Waiter. These are all public commercial titles. Administrator. So any you're dealing with anyone that has a public commercial title, there it is. Especially if you got a license or a permit. If what you do to generate income requires some sort of license or permit, if it's a regulated industry, you're going to be hard pressed to, sidestep state regulation on that one, state encumbrances. That's why I'm always like, a lot of times you want to set up a business. If you're a realtor, you got a public title, do it through an LLC. Pass the profits to the private entity. Just pass the profits to the private. And the LLC, the business is regulated, and you got that, you're doing that regulated activity through a regulated business, and it's got liability insurance and error insurance, omissions insurance, and those are all expenses to the business. You can administer your private estate however you want. And a lot of people come in here and like, yo, I don't want to pay any taxes. Okay, I feel you. Well, you can administer however you want. But are you actually going to administer that way? Are you going to file returns that have no taxable income on them? Are you going to feel comfortable doing that? No one can tell you, you ain't private if you paying taxes. What? You only private if you ain't paying taxes. What? Private is different for everybody. You may administer your estate however you see fit. Donald Trump paid $750 in taxes. Maybe, I guess he felt good with that. But when you're in a position of control, it's up to you. Maybe you don't feel comfortable reducing your private estate's taxation to zero. Maybe you don't feel comfortable with that. Maybe that doesn't sit right with you. Maybe you got to pray, or you got to contemplate, or you got to, meditate, or whatever it is. And you're just like, you know what? I'm going to administer my private estate this way. That's up to you. That's up to you. You have that option when you're dealing with a private trust. Now, I'm not going to say the private trust has no minimum contacts. It does. Most of the time, especially with business trusts, you got a bank account. That's a minimum contact with the public. It's a state bank. That's the way it is. But that doesn't mean the bank or the state can say how the trust is administered. It just says, okay, this transactions and this contract and the business between the bank and the trust, are under this. So just understanding, nuances, understanding where stuff begins and other stuff ends. It comes with time and it comes with repetition. You're not stupid. You didn't jump on a bike and just take off. So, it is what it is. But we got about a minute left in the broadcast. I'll stream a little bit. I'll go over. So 563-999-3625. 563-999-3625. Otherwise, you will be disconnection. You will be disconnection in about 30 seconds. Now I've done, a conversation. This is what is this? Monologue. This is a monologue. I've been doing monologues, man. But we'll just say presentations. I've done presentations on public versus private before, and I feel like every time I do it differently. But the bottom line is you're gonna come across people. You're gonna come across people in the public, and they're gonna say that don't exist. Ain't no such thing as you can't do that. Trust can't do that. You have to do this. You have to do that. Some people be like, oh man, this is a family accountant. We've been working with this accountant for a couple generations now. I don't want to rock the boat. I'm just going to do it the way he said. Fine. I'm not going to yell at you, swear at you, judge you, curse you, nothing. It's not my job to tell you what you should do. It's my job to assist you to do what you want to do. Give you all the options that I can possibly think of, so you have data and information in front of you so you can make the most informed decision that you can with my assistance about how you want to do what you want to do. It's not my job to tell you what you do. I think you should do this. I think people who talk like that are very, very, very self-centered. And I think people who behave in a self-centered manner, that behavior does not appeal to me. So therefore, I do not want to participate in that behavior because I do not find it appealing. But you're gonna find people, you're gonna deal with people, and I've dealt with a lot of people who they get the information and they go and do what they want to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. Do what makes you feel comfortable. Administer your state or how you want to administer it. The biggest thing I tell people is do not overlook educating your successors. It means nothing to set all this up and restructure all this and set up your private estate. And you got all these trusts, asset trusts, family trusts, business trusts. You got this, and you don't teach anyone how to come behind you and do what you did. Do it better. A lot of people miss that because most people when they're dealing with trust are thinking individual. Because we're coming from an individual taxes, and this is mine, and this is my car, and blah blah blah. Like, no, this stuff belongs to the family. It belongs to the estate now. It's no longer mine. And it's difficult transitioning that mind state of individuality, materialistic type stuff to, a unified, part of a whole type of mentality. So some people do what they do, and it's not my position or place to judge. It's my position and place to give you everything that I possibly can, so you can make the decision that you want to make. But ultimately, on this path, this private path, you're gonna run into people. A lot of people, it's gonna be people you respect. A lot of people respect attorneys. A lot of people respect CPAs and these people with titles and numbers and letters behind their name. A lot of people respect those people. You may be one of those people that respect those people, doctors and stuff. They come in with a little white coat, start telling you something, stab you with something in your arm, and you okay, cool. A lot of people just take what certain people in certain positions say and don't question it. And that's really what you're taught and what we're all taught through the school system is not to question authority. You better not. Ooh, I'll call home and tell your parents. But in the private, that doesn't work in the private. They don't tell me what to do. Fear-based, none of that stuff. That doesn't work. You got to go back to the public with that. In the private, it's all about being accountable, being responsible. Handling your business. No such thing as I should have, I could have. That stuff don't work. I didn't know. I didn't realize. Oh, I thought. All that stuff is unacceptable in the private. Maybe once or twice, but as you're learning, but you ain't going to hear me say, oh, man, I thought that, you could do that with the trust. Like, man, no, look, man, ain't nobody want to hear that stuff. Talking about what you thought. This stuff is real. So we go to the real sources. We go to the Supreme Court. That's the jurisdiction that you're in when you appeal a decision by the legislative court, the state court. That's the jurisdiction you're in, right? And if you know that that's a jurisdiction that recognizes constitutional issues, and if you know that a contract is a constitutional issue if it's breached or impaired, then you know off top that that's where you need to go. And you know that most state attorneys have never been in the Supreme Court, most attorneys have not, what's the word? Practice in an Article 3 jurisdiction. Most of them, most all of them, have never been in the Supreme Court jurisdiction, in a Supreme Court case. Ask them that. Oh, you can't do that with the trust. You got to do this. Hey, man, you ever tried a case in the Supreme Court? You ever? What? What do you mean? Huh? What? Why do you ask me that question? Watch, man. When you know the questions to ask these people, this facade starts to crumble. Bottom line, when you understand the difference between the private trust and the public trust, when you start bringing in Supreme Court cases and the Hague Convention and all type, look, man, they either gonna get down or they're gonna get mad at you and lay down. Like, you have to find someone else because it is what it is. Some people be like, oh, my attorney don't like it, so I'm just not gonna mess with it. And I'm like, hey, cool. Is there anything that you don't understand? Is there anything that you're a little confused on as far as the training goes or whatever? And as long as you say no, there's nothing that I can think of. I just rather, do it this way. I respect you 100%. 100%. No love lost, no respect lost, no nothing. Free will is something I respect every day, all day. Every day, all day. Whether I agree or not, you have the right to choose what you wanna. As long as it don't hurt me or mine. And your estate don't make my money shake. So I respect it. And people are coming in, they're making donations for training. They're making donations to get educated and to go on and do what they want to do with the education. I respect that. Anyone else who talks to you crazy, you might want to maybe think about why they're talking like that and what interest do they have in what you do with yours. Because when you get the information now, it's yours. It's not mine. It never was mine. So, I trust that I was able to draw some distinctions between a private trust and a public trust, as well as give you a little clarity, window, and understanding of how you're going to be dealing with people in the public, what some of the things that you're going to hear from attorneys and CPAs, and some ways to deal with that type of pushback when you bring something to these people in the public who were trained and educated in the public, a private entity that they've never seen, they've never understood. And that's that, public trust versus private trust. It's something you're going to be dealing with. And, I just want to put it out there. A lot of times this is the stuff that's taught privately and you got to pay money for this stuff. And, I continue to do what I can to pancake toes. That's a motto of mine. I'm pancaking toes. I ain't just stepping on toes. You don't go home flapping. You walking home flapping with me out here. Straight up. You don't go home. You might be, you wearing your nice shoes, right? I mean, your nice, you may bring some, the boots, you might just got them shine. Come over here with that. I'm going to pancake your toes. You're going to go home. It's going to sound like you walking in flip-flops on your way home. I'm pancaking. And this right here, this distinction, how I break it down, I never really heard any. And it's not, it's some ego stuff. I just never really heard anyone break it down like this. That's why I did it. Honestly, not to brag or anything. Ooh, you like how I spit it? Man, this ain't me. This ain't me. Anybody egotistical? Yeah, I'm dope. No, I am not dope. I am just like you. I'm just, I'm in communion with the Creator, the ancestor, something. I don't question it. Ever since I was younger, It's just these feelings I get. There's certain things that I know, and I just don't question it, and it always turns out right. It always turns out right. And hey, I know, hey, and maybe I pass on and be like, oh, it was me, but I doubt it. I straight up doubt it. It's the creator and ancestors, baby. So yeah, I appreciate y'all. Let me see where we going. Let me wrap this up. Got any callers? Oh, we got some callers. Look at y'all. Oh. I was messing around. Okay, I'm gonna go to the phone lines. Let me take a couple callers and I'm out. I'm hungry. I need some food. What we got here? Oh, by the way, that the IRS has a trust primer, man. Just let me see if it works. I'm gonna go over here. Let me see. I'm gonna go to Google. All right. I'm gonna type in IRS. No, not E. IRS Trust Primer. Primer. IRS Trust Primer. Boom. It's the first thing that comes up in Google. And that's why I found the differences between complex, simple, and grantor trust. Of course, I knew this stuff before, but when I speak and I talk about this stuff, y'all know I like to go to the source. I like to go to spots where, like the Internal Revenue Service or the FBI or something. I don't like these obscure little PDFs that someone wrote with some weird moniker or pseudonym. Like, I'm not into all that, man. I'm saying holler at me. Don't holler at them. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, I don't know, old school, whatever, South Side, whatever you want to call it. That's just me. So, yeah, it's the IRS Trust Primer. Just throw it in Google. It's on the IRS website, irs.gov. And then in Section 3, it talks about tax law concepts, and it goes over the 3 different types of trust that the IRS recognizes. And, when you're dealing with private, you're dealing with complex, and you can go to, irs.gov and pull up a 1041 form, and you'll see the box where you can check complex and trust and simple trust and grantor trust and spend, you'll see the boxes, man. And then, holler at me, email me, call into a show or something, be like, yo, so I checked it out, and, it was true what you said. I know it was true what I said. So I appreciate you, confirming that, because, I'm not out here trying to just tell y'all what I think and, I read this and this is what I think. You got enough, you can deal with thinks and thoughts and hopes and dreams in the public, man. I mean, look at the stock market. They even admit it, on hopes of stimulus and stuff. I'm not with that. We're going to kick it straight, thorough, all the way down in the burrow. When it comes to the information, I'm not playing. So, yeah, if y'all want that primer, just go to Google, type in IRS Trust Primer, and there it is. Read that, John. I'm never afraid to read that, John. But, yeah, let's go to the phone lines. Let me do phone lines. Area code 313. Let me start with you. 313-6479. 313-6479. Peace. What's your name? Where you calling from? You on mute? Am I on mute? Can y'all hear me? 313-6479. Mute your phone. Unmute your phone. Okay. All right. Well, hey. Okay. 267-0081. 267-0081. Peace. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Peace, good brother. I don't know why this dude was in the queue. We ain't had nothing. That joint just threw me straight in the queue. I'm trying to figure out what was going on. So all I can say is what you were reading from is very true. I read that document. I've asked everyone to read that document. I mean, it's definitely thorough and fly. And I'm going to mute myself and step back and continue to listen.
Oh, yeah, no problem, man. Good looking. Yeah, I don't know why I threw it in the queue. Probably the same thing as 313. 313, they threw you in the queue too? Huh? Hello? 3-64-7. They threw you in the queue? It's cool, man. It's cool. I'm going to leave you alone. 718-8092. This is familiar number. 8092. Peace. Which name are you calling from? 8092. I thought this was my Brownsville homie. What's going on with y'all phones? Hello? I'm just playing. Oh, I'm in a good mood, y'all. I'm in a good mood, y'all. 718, man. That's the homie, too. 8092. Oh. Oh. All right, I'm gonna quit messing with these phone lines. I'm done with y'all. I'm done with y'all. I'm out of here anyways, man. Boom, there it is. That's the show. I blame Blog Talk. I'm just gonna give y'all a pass. I'm just gonna blame Blog Talk. But I'm gonna blame Blog Talk. I'm gonna be back on Blog Talk next week. Kind of like how my dad used to do with his girl and stuff back in the day. Just be mad at her, just break up with her, and then next week I miss her. Like, man, you need to get it together. Have you ever I'm digressing a little bit, but y'all know what I'm talking about. The stuff your parents did that you was just like, nah, fam, I ain't never, not a ne'er, never. And then, maybe you got siblings and stuff, and you see that they did exactly what your parents did. You're like, man, I don't like you, really, because you just like dad or you just like mom. But like how your parents can shape what you do and what they do, how that can shape what you don't do. It's weird. It's really weird. But I'm out of here, y'all. I love y'all. I'm out of here, though. I appreciate y'all. I trust y'all had a great week. You know what I mean? I trust y'all, gained some knowledge, some wisdom, some understanding from, the show. And, I'm just, hey, we in the last month of this year, man. We got, if you sign up for the email list, you better jump on that, jump on it. How many more years you gonna wait? How long you gonna wait before you set up your private estate? I didn't try to rhyme that on purpose. It just happened that way. Y'all think I'm playing, but I'm not playing. It hurts me when I think about what people are gonna be in. What type of situations people are going to be in that they don't have to be. I just don't want none of y'all to be like, man, I should have, I should have, I could have, I didn't know, I didn't mean to, like, admin at welcometothefoundation.com, consultation, holler at me for an hour, man, let's chop it up. Let's figure out what we're going to do, figure out what you're going to do, figure out what you should do, how to do what you want to do. You want to start that business. You want to set up your business credit. You want to, start talking about other things. Let's do it. Start somewhere. Admin at welcometothefoundation.com with regards to, trustee training. At the foundation, we educate people privately on, the administration of private estates. We don't sell trusts. It's trustee training and, of course, educational materials go along with the training if you understand what I'm saying. But no, we don't sell trusts. Never. We will never sell a trust. Ever. But educational materials come with the training. And it's needed. It's absolutely needed, man. This stuff is getting crazy out here. It's getting crazy. But I'm going to keep talking about it. Hopefully, y'all keep listening to me talk about it. And we're going to get it right. But I believe in y'all. I know y'all can do this. You got this. There's a lot of scary stuff going out there. And then beyond that, we get older. Look, hey, let me share something with you. There was a time, look, let's get personal. You want to get personal? Let's get personal a little bit. When I was coming up, it was tore up, all right? When I was young, when I had no control over the stuff, and I was just at the mercy of my father and my mother, right? And, whoever they put me at the mercy of. When I was coming up, it was tore up, right? One of the main things that I hated was how much I had to move. And as I got older, I realized that, my parents kept getting evicted. And another thing I hated was having the lights off, the gas off. I remember having the lights off. We had no lights, and it was cold. And we had, like, the stove on, the stove oven door open, and it was getting dry and stuff. So then my dad would put pots of water on the stove and boil the water, so the air wouldn't be super dry and stuff. And it was whack, man. You know, it was embarrassing. It was whack. So one thing about me is I hate moving. I really hate moving. Hate it. Right? So I've never been evicted. You look, that's any one of my children. You ever move because you've been evicted? They be evicted what? They probably don't even know what it means. Okay? But another thing is, I've never had any of my power or lights or gas or any of that stuff turned off. Ever. But I'll tell you this. Because of what I was seeing with regards to my parents, they're getting evicted, they can't pay the rent, they're getting stuff turned off, I had a very serious fear. You know, right before I got my own place, you know, when I was younger and stuff, but I had a very serious fear that I had for a long time, that I wasn't going to be able to pay my rent. I was going to get evicted. I wasn't going to be able to pay my bills. How am I going to pay this rent every single month? I had a serious fear. I also had a serious fear when I bought my first property. Like, man, it's going to get a mortgage. Like, okay, rent is one thing. Okay, that's a year. But a mortgage, that's 30 years. You tap your credit. I'm going to lose my house. You get scary. It's scary. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say I'm very familiar with situations where there's a lot of fear that you got to deal with. Lots of fear in situations that you may be coming into that no one has ever showed you how to do it. Not your mom, your dad, your uncle, auntie, nobody. Maybe you've seen some stuff on TV, but how far removed from you is a damn TV show or a movie or something? And that's the thing. As you grow emotionally, spiritually, mentally, economically, you are going to enter different situations and be able to enter situations, have the potential to take advantage of opportunities, and you must check your fear. Because if you allow your fear to take hold, you are going to miss things that you can handle. What I tell so many people is, yo, you living and breathing right now? And you'll be like, yeah, so I'm living, it could be better. Like, man, are you breathing and living? You alive, man? Yeah. Did you eat today? Well, yeah. You got a place to live? Yeah. You got clothes in your back? Yeah. You starving? No. Have you handled everything that's come at you in your life up until this point? Yeah. But have some things ever come at you wish you handled it differently? Yeah. But you handled it nonetheless, right? Yeah. So what's different about this? Well, I never seen nobody, and I don't know if I can do it. I mean, that's fair, but what's different? You handled everything else. Yeah. And some of us have to think way back to like high school, maybe when we did that race, or when we played in that game, or when we did that project, or when we did that presentation in front of everybody and we had to stand up and we was nervous as hell and didn't want to trip and fall. Everybody's going to laugh at us and stuff. Like, man, like, you're the only one to feel like that. The difference between people who are successful and are happy because they have what they want and are just like, hey, life is great, and people who are not successful is most of the people who are successful, they stepped into that fear and passed it. They got to a point into their life where they were no longer comfortable. They were uncomfortable, and they stepped into that uncomfortableness and didn't run back into their comfort zone and go back to what they know and what they're familiar with and stuff. No, growth requires you to be fearful. Growth requires you to be uncomfortable. You trying to build muscle? Anybody who knows who lifted weights, you go lift some weights, you're going to go home. What does growth require? Pain, bruh. Pain. You in pain. You sore. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Pain. It requires sacrifice. It requires you to step into that fear. It requires you to move into a place that's unknown that you've never done before. But what you got to understand, what have you faced that you haven't handled? That you haven't made it through? You living and breathing right now. Yeah. What was the worst situation? Well, that one time, yeah. But it doesn't click for most people. Yeah, well, that was bad, but this is different. How is it different? You're nervous just the same, scared just the same, uncertain just the same, confused just the same, and you don't feel prepared just the same. What's the difference? And that's what I'm telling you. What's the difference? You have to do what others won't so you can live how others can't. It's just how it goes. We've been doing the same thing up until this day, and this is what has gotten us. We have to do different things to achieve and receive different things. And that starts with setting up your private estate. I mean, how can you call yourself a private man or a private woman if you ain't got your private estate set up? You ain't even got your private house in order, your private structures in order. It's the foundation that you need. That's why this show, this whole thing is called The Foundation. Because what is the foundation? Your private structures. And how that foundation interfaces with the public. And it's all about how your foundation is set up, whether your interaction with the public is going to benefit your family more or if it's going to benefit the public more. And that's what it boils down to. You were taught by your family, your mother, your father, conceived by your family, your mother, your father, under the Creator. That's where you got your life, your energy, your sustenance. That's where you're taught to speak, taught to walk, taught to talk. Concerned for, nurtured, and taken care of by your family. Not by the public. Nobody run. The milkman didn't come in and just start burping you and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, here's milk, and oh, give me, Junior. Oh, yeah, here. It's my turn today. And it's plain, it's black and white like that for me. You know what I mean? My allegiance is pledged to my family, my Creator, and my family, and then to my people, and in that order. But it all depends on how are you structured. Are you benefiting with your life, your energy, your time that you'll never get back on this plane of existence? Are you benefiting the public more in the exchange and conversion of your life and your energy and your time on this earth that you will never get back? Or are you benefiting your private estate more, your family? Ask yourself that question. And then ask yourself, are you scared? And then ask yourself, so what does that mean? Does that mean I'm not going to do it? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I do this for y'all. You know, I love Atlanta. I see people who look like me in really expensive cars, expensive homes, expensive suits. You know, I love Atlanta. I love certain places when I see my people just doing it because that's what I love to see. But those places are pretty, few and far in between around the world when you're talking about the world. And this is my investment in my people. I've established my private estate. I've set my family in order. I've set up my family affairs and my family bank and family, investments and stuff like that. And I'm hollering at y'all, my family and my people. And, people be like, oh, y'all get up and y'all to reach back. Yo, the foundation is me reaching back. 100%. 100%. So with that being said, y'all have a great week. Enjoy yourself. Take care of yourself. Make sure you say 10 things that you are thankful for before you go to sleep tonight and every night. And I encourage you to email me, admin@welcometothefoundation.com. Get your hands on some trustee training. Go to welcometothefoundation.com. If you want to get any of the Passport No Social Part 1, Part 2, Foundation Trust Primer. We've also got the Foundation Trust Series Part 1 through 3. Part 1, Part 2, and 3. All in the Education tab, welcometothefoundation.com. Also sign up for the email list so you don't miss out on those private offerings exclusively for email subscribers. And with that being said, y'all enjoy yourself. Y'all take care of yourself. And I'll catch you next week here on the same spot, the hottest radio network on the planet, High Frequency Radio Network. I am your host, So L with the Foundation. And you enjoy yourself, take care of yourself, and peace to the gods.
High Frequency Radio.